Good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in your part of the world. This is King B News and Views with another video. So, you see the title on the screen: Mysterious Shooting Outside Army Special Forces Residence in North Carolina Raises Questions. This article, dropped by Fox News, released 4 days ago. And this is something that's important that's going on. A lot of these migrants that's been coming across. Um, a lot of if you've been paying attention to it, a lot of these men are men with no families, men, no women, no children with them. A lot of them look like are military age, in shape, and now you have this going on. I've made videos about this. Others have, as well. And now you're seeing situations like this happening, right? And this is what we were talking about. So let's get into the story. Mysterious shooting in North Carolina, north of Fort Liberty, formerly Fort Bragg, not far from where some of America's most elite U.S. Special Operations Forces live and train, is under investigation by the Army Criminal Investigation Division, as well as local police. The shooting in Carthage, North Carolina occurred May 3rd at 8:15 p.m. following a phone call about a suspected trespasser near a Special Forces soldier's property. Two Chechen men who spoke broken English were found near the soldier's home. The family alleges the suspected intruder, 35-year-old Ramzan Darev of Chicago, was taking photos of their children. When confronted near a power line in the wooded part of the property, an altercation ensued, and Dariev was shot several times at close range. A second man, I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce that name. Zankutov Salam, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong, was in a vehicle some distance from the incident and was questioned by authorities and then released. The Moore County Sheriff's Office is leading the investigation. The FBI told Fox News our law enforcement partners of the Moore County Sheriff's Office contacted the FBI after shooting death in Carthage. A special agent met with investigators and provided a linguist to assist with a language barrier for interviews. Sheriff Ronnie Fields said in a statement the caller indicated that an individual was observed taking photographs on the property and had become aggressive towards a resident outside their home. The deceased was found approximately 250 yards from the roadway along a power line on a residential property. Identification was not initially found on Dariev. However, his identity was later confirmed through family members and an international identification located in his vehicle. The shooter has been identified as a colonel with the U.S. Army who resided at the location of the shooting. So, let me pause right there. So he thought it was a good idea. He thought it was a good idea to go to a colonel, with the U.S. Army's a special ops, a colonel residence, and take photographs of his family, of his children. Now that sounds like it, like a reconnaissance mission, you know. So we need to. Not enough people is talking about this. I've seen the YouTube channel Black Scouts did a video on this, as well as Full Spectrum did a video on this as well. But not many is talking about this. This is not being covered enough. This is important right here, because we are under attack. If you don't know, right? And we have to pay attention to this. We really do. But let's continue on with this. U.S. Special Operations soldiers around the country have experienced strange interactions in recent years that they say involve suspicious surveillance of them and their families. Many believe that the U.S. military bases have become an increasing target of foreign probes. You hear that? So this colonel, this is something that's ongoing, that's going on. Somewhere, somehow they've got information of of uh, of soldiers, of military personnel, and they are, where they live, their residence, their personal information, and they're doing surveillance, right? But I'm sure these men and women, they train for this. They constantly got their head on the swivel, and even us civilians, we need to keep our head on the swivel as well when we're out and about and we at home with our families, and we need to talk to our family members, our loved ones about this as well, on keeping your head on the swivel. Always being alert of who's around you, what's going on. You know, are you familiar with your neighbors? What vehicles your neighbors drive, or their family or their relatives, friends, whatever, who come by and visit. So you always aware. Who belong and who don't belong. Because if you look and you see someone or you see a vehicle you've never seen before, you need to pay attention. You see a vehicle on your street in your neighborhood that you've never seen before, and that vehicle is kind of parked or just driving around slowly. You need to pay attention to that. Or you see someone walking around in your neighborhood you've never seen before, don't live in your neighborhood, pay attention to that. You don't have to say anything to them, but just be aware and pay attention. Keep your eyes open, very important. The shooting incident 2 weeks ago in Carthage could have been a case of mistaken identity. The two Chechens had no personal identification. They did have 2 cell phones with Russian language contacts and camera equipment. They were not wearing any uniforms for the power company that reportedly employed them. Yeah, it's still weird. I don't know about the mistaken identity. Anything's possible, but I don't know about that. Sheriff Ronnie Fields said Daria was working as a subcontractor for Utilities One, a company based in New Jersey, at the time of his death. Investigators are still working to verify his official employment and immigration status. Yeah, but but again, according to the report, he had no uniform on. Right? No personal identification. So clearly he wasn't doing any work for the utility company. At the time of the incident, Daria was not in possession of any utility equipment, utility clothing, or identification. The incident has been reported to the U.S. Department of Labor, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA. Sources tell Fox News that power company employment is often a cover for status/action that U.S. intelligence agents use for surveillance of foreign targets overseas. Yeah. There you go. In a separate incident 18 months ago, Moore County experienced another mysterious shooting attack that targeted 2 electrical distribution substations. Damage from the attack left up to 40,000 residential or business customers without power in North Carolina for nearly 2 weeks. The power outage primarily affected communities heavily populated by U.S. Special Operations families. Less than 2 weeks prior to the Moore County substation incident, the FBI sent a report to private industry warning of an increase in reported threats to electrical infrastructure from people who espouse racially or ethnically motivated violent extremist ideology. The FBI took over that investigation, which remains unsolved. Daryev's family launched a Change.org petition called Justice for Ramzan Daryev, which has already received more than 11,000 signatures, adding, Ramzan left Russia not realizing that the greatest injustice against him would be done in a free country where, in theory, he should have received protection. But what was he doing, allegedly, at the residence, trespassing, according to reports, taking pictures? I mean, that's just weird, you know. This May 3rd shooting in Carthage may simply have been a case of mistaken identity, saying that again. But members of the Special Operations community are asking why two Russian-speaking Chechens were taking photos near an elite Army Special Forces residence at 8:15 p.m. on a Friday night. It was Friday night, some 10 minutes after sunset, and why the FBI is not the lead in the investigation. So he was at 8:15 on a Friday night. Supposedly he worked for a utilities company, but he had no utility equipment, nor did he have on uniform, nor did he have any identification. And it looked real suspicious. Sure looked like they was doing surveillance. The FBI tells Fox News the Bureau has not opened a counterintelligence investigation and that the local investigation has not uncovered evidence of a federal crime, adding the FBI is in regular contact with the Sheriff's Office investigators and are prepared to investigate if a federal matter comes to light. So that's the end of that article. So I've seen a clip of someone in the military speaking and talking about how they're having to deal. It's a current problem. Like every week, they have foreign individuals at or near or trying to get on military bases. They coming in as like the DoorDash drivers or whatever have you. So this is something that is ongoing, and it's a serious problem. I've said before in previous videos, in one of my previous videos, discussing the migrant situation, that in my opinion we've been invaded. And we've been invaded a long time ago, years. This didn't just happen. This is not something that's just going on right now. We've been invaded. Again, I remember a story that I read before about I believe it was in Michigan, a military base where a bunch of Chinese soldiers showed up at a military base, but they were all dressed in UN uniforms. And again, I mentioned this before. Some years back, I remember a few years ago watching a video of a Mexican journalist who was bilingual, and he recorded this video in English in Mexico, and he talked about how he had intel of Chinese forces in Mexico, tanks and all, in Mexico, as well as Russia being in Mexico, having to deal with to build facilities to make weapons in Mexico as well, allegedly. Kind of hard to find that video now, but I watched that video on YouTube. This was a few years back. So again, we need to pay attention to this. I understand the distractions. I myself watch videos and allow myself to get distracted sometimes, but I really do pay attention to what's going on. It's important to pay attention to what's going on and what's happening, because this is serious. You know, they keep saying how, oh, you know, you hear people talk about, oh, the threat of World War III, the threat of World War III. In my opinion, World War III has already begun or began, in my opinion. When you look at what's going on with our water infrastructure being under attack, I've done videos on that. Check out my previous videos. Right, I've already made a couple of videos on that topic. You know, I've been talking about this. Check my previous videos out if anyone watching this, if you're not subscribed. Check out my previous videos. All right, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Click the notification bell. Click all, and check out my older videos where I've talked about this. I've been talking about this. Okay. But we really do need to pay attention, more attention to what's happening around us, what's going on, because this is not being reported or talked about enough, right? And I wonder what it's going to take for more people to open their eyes as to what's happening around us. You know, unfortunately, people don't think. You know, they label everything a conspiracy theory, or it's not real unless they see it as happening right in front of their face. You know, it's like they can get the warning, keep getting the warning. They'll ignore or disregard the warning and until they're getting smacked right in the face with what they've been warned about. You know, take heed to the warnings. We got to take heed to the warnings and pay more attention and wake up. Anyway, this is King B News and Views. That's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next video. Again, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Like the video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know, you know, what are you hearing or seeing in your neighborhood, in your neck of the woods. Help get this video out there. Share the video. Click the notification bell again. Click all so you'll be notified every time I get a video. Shout out to my subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, like I always say, love yourself unconditionally. Keep your loved ones close. Stay prepared. Have multiple plans. Discuss your plans. Work on your plans so that whatever situation that may come your way, you are prepared to deal with it. Protect the babies and the children. Always, that comes first. Protect our women. Shout out to all the natural born women out there. Again, our children, our babies, our women are under attack as well. You know, pay attention to that too. All right, this is King B News and Views. Peace to each and every one of you. I'm gone.